Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Friday. And though it is not a Chiefs Red Friday, it is still very much a football Friday here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And in living color on our video stream. You can watch us on YouTube. Like and subscribe, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube or on Facebook at WIBW News. However, wherever, whenever you're tuning into the program today, appreciate you being part of the audience. We're going to make it worth your while. Have a funky good time these next 3 hours on 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis and Brendan Dworzinski will be along in a while. We'll have a bit of a revolving door cast of characters throughout the show today as we bring you 580 Sports Talk ahead of a very busy weekend here on 580 WIBW and a very busy weekend across the Connoisseur Media Topeka family of stations. How about 9 games, 7 football games, and 2 basketball games coming your way on the air this weekend on our family of stations. And of course, that starts tonight with the 580 Preps game of the week. It's Regional Friday across the state of Kansas, and we're heading to Rossville for some Class 1A regional action. The number 4 seed Rossville Bulldogs and the number 5 seed Jefferson County North Chargers. I'll be on the call high atop the press box at Rossville with Greg Akagi and Spencer Dupuis down on the sideline. Looking forward to bringing you all of the action tonight. The coverage of high school football begins with the 580 Preps Coaches Club at 6:05, and then we will bring you the kickoff at 7 o'clock from Rossville tonight. So glad to be bringing you that game and have another one here tonight on the 580 Preps game of the week. And we got a whole bunch more games coming Saturday and Sunday as well. We'll tell you all about it a little bit later on in the broadcast. But suffice it to say, pretty good chance you turn on our signal at any point this weekend, you're going to hear a sporting event. You're going to hear a game. All apologies to everybody who loves animal talk, but I don't think we're going to sneak animal talk in this week. I think we've got some other things going on here on 580 WIB. I like animal talk. It's fun. They enjoy their subject matter. But we got a lot of games. We got K-State hoops. We got the Big 12 game of the year in football. We're going to bring you broadcast of the Texas Tech BYU game from the Elite Media Network tomorrow. And then on Sunday, an NFL quadruple header from Westwood One and Compass Media Networks. 4 games. Sun up to sundown and beyond NFL football on the Sports Voice of Kansas on Sunday. We're psyched for that. We hope that you are too. But first things first, we got 3 hours of sports talk to do today. And in this 3 hours, as I mentioned, it is not a Chiefs Red Friday. The Chiefs are off this week before resuming their schedule in Week 11. A conveniently timed bye for the sake of breaking the season into halves. Chiefs are 9 games down, 8 games left to play. So we're going to make, instead of keys to the game and big Chief selections and game predictions, we're going to make some second half of the season predictions for the Chiefs. I've got mine in. Brendan and Spencer submitted theirs. We're going to make our predictions for the second half of the season, what we expect to see. And we will tell you how we think the Chiefs are going to finish, what their record will be, will they win the division, and what seed will they get in the AFC playoffs. So we have our predictions, and of course, we'll be looking for yours as we go along on the show today. We'll also see what our Chiefs insider thinks. Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com is going to join us at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour. We always look forward to our chats with Matt. He'll join us again, bottom of this hour, to discuss what lies ahead for the Chiefs and what fixes they have to make sure that the second half of the season is more successful win percentage-wise than the first. Because it's not, I'd be surprised. But if it's not, it's going to be a hard road to hoe to even get to the postseason. So we'll get Matt Derrick's insight, our Chiefs insider, joining us again at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour. Also got some college football to talk about today. KU, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. It feels like Saturday is their best chance to get it, and they are 5.5-point underdogs. So if you were taking it for granted that KU was going to find a way to a bowl, it might be tight. It might be tight. They are 5.5-point dogs, at least last I saw, against Arizona on Saturday. So we'll preview that game a little bit, what KU is going to have to do to get out of Death Valley. That's their version of Death Valley, by the way. It's what they call it in Tucson. There's Death Valley at Clemson and Death Valley at LSU. Those are a little more famous. But I think they call it Death Valley down in Tucson, too. And we'll see what KU has to do to get out of there with a win. We'll look ahead again to the rest of the Big 12 schedule, including the game of the week this week in college football. All eyes on the Big 12. Brett Yormark in his happy place. Texas Tech BYU on Saturday. We'll give a preview of that one. Also, KU basketball plays the big one tonight. Jayhawks Tar Heels at the Dean Dome. We'll give you a breakdown of that. What does KU have to do to earn another early season signature win? Those haven't been a problem for Kansas so far the last couple of years, even though the end product hasn't been what KU fans want or expect. The Jayhawks typically find their way to winning the marquee early season non-conference games. They've had a good record in recent years in the Champions Classic. Had that win over UConn, beat North Carolina last year. We'll see if they can do it again against the Tar Heels to start this season. And, of course, it's week 11 of our 580 Sports Talk Picks contest. So we're going to get into the picks. Back-to-back winning weeks for yours truly, trying to claw back to 500 and get into the black. Spencer continues his winning ways. He's the only one of us with an overall winning record. Brendan scraping and clawing, trying to get back into a winning week this week. We'll bring you our 580 Sports Talk picks from college football and the NFL. That's coming up a little bit later on as well. Plus our usual Friday shenanigans. We'll do On Second Thought, do Change My Mind, crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You. We got 580 Sports Talk headlines and so much more. Plus, we want to hear from you. Get at us on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. Or if you are watching the program on YouTube today, name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Hop in the live chat. There's a live chat feature on the web browser or mobile device of your choice. It is live throughout the broadcast of the show. And you can type words into that box, and we will read them. We might not read every one of them on the radio, but you can interact with your hosts and your fellow listeners in the live chat at our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. We see Mark B in the chat early today. Good to see you, Mark. Mark B beat Mark H to the chat. That hasn't happened in a very long time. Good to see both of the Marks brothers in the chat today. Andrew is in early. Love to see you, Andrew. Ryan is in the chat as well. Andrew, I have good news for you. Andrew says he hopes Pat Mahomes is going to be the guest picker on College Game Day. He is. That's been confirmed that Patrick Mahomes will be the guest picker on ESPN's College Game Day. So enjoy watching College Game Day if, you don't have YouTube TV. If you have YouTube TV, I don't know what to tell you. Call your local cable company. I never thought I'd feel so good about having cable in 2025. Man, it feels great right now. I don't have to worry about carriage disputes. I could turn on College Game Day. I don't usually watch College Game Day. Quick aside before we get back into the stuff. There are things that you give up. Like in my single days, it could be wall to wall, whatever I wanted to watch and do at all times. And that was typically sports. So I had game day on, be flipping back and forth between a bunch of different games. Maybe have my laptop or my tablet as a second or third screen. And it'd just be game all day long until the Hawaii game, or I fell asleep, whichever came first. Well, now I'm married and I have a child. And when you get married and have children, there are compromises that you make, and you have to give some things back. Like, for example, I used to watch a lot of English Premier League soccer in weekend mornings. Haven't watched a whole lot of that since Asher was born. And something else that I've been giving up and am more than happy usually to give up, pregame shows. Just in general, pregame shows. I can turn on the game when they're about to start. I don't I don't need the pregame show, I've come to find. It was just kind of there as noise for me, and that was great. Get you excited for the games. And they do good work. Some of those pregame shows do good work. Not all of them, big noon kickoff, but some of them do really good work. But it's just a sacrifice I've had to make. But if you want to watch game day and see Patrick Mahomes make guest picks this week, you get to do that. So he is confirmed as the guest picker. I do not know what to tell you as an alternative if you are a YouTube TV subscriber now. Sorry to hear that. Let's get into what we were going to talk about today. It is, again, not a Red Friday, but we're at the midway point virtually for the Kansas City Chiefs season. So I'm looking for your second half predictions. What's going to happen in the final 8 regular season games for the Kansas City Chiefs? As far as record, final standing, we'll get to that in a little bit. But I want your second half predictions. I'm going to give you my 2 predictions for the second half of this season. And the rest of the gang has some as well. First prediction. This is a specific player involved prediction. George Karlaftis is going to set a new career high in sacks. Furious George has 5 sacks so far in this 2025 campaign. That leads the team. It's 5 of just 18 sacks recorded by the Chiefs through their first 9 games. I thought they'd be a little bit more prolific in terms of sacking the quarterback this year. That hasn't quite happened. George Karlaftis' career high in sacks is 10.5, and he set that in his second season back in 2023. All of the pressure and quarterback hit numbers and quick pressure numbers suggest that Karlaftis is doing his job of winning his matchup and getting into the backfield and impacting plays at as high a level as any other pass rusher in the league. If not an elite level, then a borderline elite level. I think that's going to be rewarded in the second half. I think you'll see a Chiefs team with a little bit more focus, a little bit more sense of purpose. And I think that the defensive line is going to be one of the groups that benefits from that. I also think that you look at some of the matchups in the second half, Houston doesn't block anybody. That could be a multi-sack game for Karlaftis. The Chargers are out of healthy tackles. That could be a multi-sack game for Karlaftis. They play the Titans. They stink. That could be a multi-sack game for Karlaftis. Not all of them are going to be, but I'm just saying there are opportunities out there on the schedule, to say nothing of another Raider game in Week 18. How many times the Broncos sacked the Raiders last night? 25? Something like that. And it wasn't that much. It only felt like that much. More about that game in a second. So there are going to be opportunities for George, I think, to pile up the sacks. He needs six total. I almost said 6.5. It was 6. 6.5, 6 total to get to 11, which would be a new career high. And I think he's going to get at least 6 sacks in the Chiefs' final 8 games. If he continues to get quick pressure and win one-on-ones as often as he has, I think Karlaftis is in for a big second half. Remember, he was really good down the stretch last year, too. After kind of a slow start, he really piled up the sacks in December. I think he's going to do that again. My second half prediction is that close game luck is going to turn back in favor of the Chiefs. The Chiefs play some teams in the second half who are good enough, either talent-wise or coaching-wise, to keep games tight into the second half. But just as going 11-0 in one-score games last season was a bit of an anomaly, so is the Chiefs being 0-4 in one-score games to start this season. I do not believe that the Kansas City Chiefs have suddenly forgotten how to win a close game. The X factors that have made them more successful than not in those one-score games over the years are still around. They are threefold. They are Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Steve Spagnuolo. They don't make you bulletproof, but we're talking about having the best chance in those situations to win, and I will take my chances with a team quarterbacked by Patrick Mahomes, coached by Andy Reid, coordinated by Steve Spagnuolo on defense, should games be close down the stretch. Just because the Chiefs haven't won one of those this year doesn't mean they've forgotten how. If you say they're 11-4 in one-score games the last 2 seasons, that is a much more fair picture of what this team is than to say, well, they were 11-0 last year and 0-4 this year. Make the sample big, you get a clearer picture. I do believe that the Chiefs will end the year finishing below 500 in one-score games. Remember, they're already 0-4. But I think that they will win 3 games by that margin in the second half. So this is me getting kind of specific, calling a bit of my shot here. This is me, Babe Ruth, pointing into the center field bleachers at Wrigley Field. I think the Chiefs will win 3 games by 1 score in the second half. One of the Denver games, the Colts game, and the Chargers game. I think any other win the Chiefs manage to attain in the second half is going to be by multiple scores. So those are my predictions for the second half. Brendan has 2 predictions for the second half. His first is that Brashard Smith will continue to see his workload increase to the point where he will average 40% of offensive snaps. That is bold. Brendan writes, Kareem Hunt has been incredibly effective in short yardage and obviously has the trust of the coaching staff, but I still don't believe he makes this running game anything special. When it comes down to the marrow and you have to shore up as many weaknesses as possible, I think you need to get your higher ceiling players on the field more often. No denying, Brashard Smith has a higher ceiling down to down than Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is very good at what he is asked to do, and he's been better at the stuff you don't usually ask him to do than he's gotten credit for this season. But I do think that he's a guy, especially as you get down to December and January, you might want to save for those short yardage situations and save for those fourth quarter opportunities to put games away. I don't know that it'll get up to 40%, but I do think Brashard Smith will see an increase in workload in the second half. Here is Brendan's second prediction. He writes, the Chiefs will not catch the Denver Broncos in the AFC West. I think the Chiefs have put themselves in too big a hole. I think Kansas City is better than Denver. Frankly, wouldn't think twice about that. But even if the Chiefs beat Denver twice, the Broncos' second half schedule is otherwise very easy. The Chiefs could go 7-1 the rest of the way and could still realistically wind up a game out of first. That is, in fact, mathematically possible. That the Chiefs could go 7-1 with the tiebreaker over Denver. But if Denver doesn't lose any other games from here on out, other than the 2 Chiefs games, they would finish 13-4. And that would, in fact, win the division. Let me offer a counterpoint. And, in fact, I don't need to offer this counterpoint. A texter from the 785 offered this counterpoint. He offered this counterpoint via text. You can text the show, 785-272-9429. This texter from the 785 texted the show and made the point that I would like to make here and made it with 5 exclamation points. So certain is he in the accuracy of this particular take. And friend, I am right with you. This is what the text reads, quote, the Broncos suck. They are not good. Look, I'll just say it right now. I know they're 8-2. Well, they don't ask you how. They ask you how many. Dog, did y'all see that football game last night? Bo Nix is not beating anybody worth any kind of salt. Not next week. Not the week after, not anytime. If there is a gunfight happening, Bo Nix is like bringing a plastic butter knife to said gunfight. He is wretched. And we've been trying to say it. And, but they're winning games. 33 in the fourth quarter. Watch him play. Everybody got to watch him play last night. He stinks, man. He is bad. And I know that defense is awesome. It is. They're not going to hold everybody to 7 points because not everybody is the Raiders. Okay? You look at what their defense is. Are we even sure that the defense is good? Wow, they're putting up big numbers against the Raiders and the Jets and Davis Mills and the Texans. Like, are we sure? Are we sure that that defense is as good as we've all just kind of decided to agree that it is? And Mitch Holthus made this point when we had him on yesterday. Last year, when it was the Chiefs winning all these one-score games, the Chiefs are just getting lucky. I don't know how they do it. The Chiefs have signed a deal with the devil. Now when the Broncos are winning every game by 3 points, pulling it out of their clavin in the fourth quarter, winning games because of goofy collapses or quarterback injuries or the other team missing a 48-yard field goal. Oh, those gritty Broncos, they've got a chance. It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous how we talk to about the Broncos in relation to how everybody talked about the Chiefs last year. It's ridiculous, and I'm done apologizing for how I feel. The Broncos stink. That is not a team. They're not winning the division. I will disagree with Brendan. I'll tell him to his face when he's in here later on. He is wrong. Kansas City is going to sweep Denver. Denver's going to trick off some games because they're not going to go undefeated in one-score games this year or down the stretch anyhow. Kansas City is winning this division. There's prediction number 3 for me. The Chiefs are winning the division. They are catching Denver. Denver is eminently beatable. There is not a team in the league they can't lose to. So thank you, Texter, for pointing that out, for saying what needed to be said about the Denver Broncos. I got to hear one more thing about. I already lived through one Tim Tebow season. I didn't need a repeat of that in my life. That's what this is. This is what the Broncos are doing. These are the Tim Tebow Broncos all over again. I don't know how into Bible study Bo Nix is. I think pretty into Bible study. Maybe not like Tim Tebow levels of being into Bible study, but I think he's pretty into Bible study. So there are a lot of parallels. There are a lot of parallels. All the way down to the quarterback not being good at quarterback. Though I wouldn't say Nix is as bad as Tebow because I still think Tebow's the worst I've ever seen. Flat out the worst quarterback I've ever seen. It's entirely too much about the Denver Broncos. I wish I don't want to think about them anymore. They are wholly unpleasant. Thankfully, this nonsense stops next Sunday. Not this coming Sunday. The Sunday after that, we're going to put a stop to all that nonsense. That's going to be done. I guarantee the Chiefs beat the Broncos in Denver next Sunday. Guarantee it. Put my name on it. Spencer only left us with one projection, and we'll leave it sit and then get around to our final record and seeding projections. Spencer thinks the Chiefs are running the rack. Spencer thinks the Chiefs are going 8-0. I'm not ready to go quite that far. Obviously, neither is Brendan. But how many games do you think the Chiefs are going to win in the second half of their season? Let us know. Text us, 785-272-9429. Holler at us in the YouTube comments. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Matt Derrick joins us in about 10 minutes. We're just getting started on this Football Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Bit of debate going in the YouTube chat right now. Was last night's Raiders-Broncos game the worst football game ever? I still say that the final game of the 2011 regular season between the Chiefs and the Broncos in Denver, a game I was at, one of a buddy of mine who had season tickets at the time, we sat in the South Stands. That was, of course, the Tim Tebow year. The Chiefs, you'll recall, not fondly, but you'll recall, were bad that year. They beat the Broncos 7-3. And I am resolute in my belief that that is the worst game of American football that has ever been played at the professional level. There wasn't like an excuse. There was no bad weather. It was a little chilly, but there was no bad weather, no snow, no wind, no rain, just ineptitude for 60 minutes. And when I tell you everybody in that stadium was over the Tim Tebow experience by that point, I mean it. Then, of course, the next week he throws for 316 yards, beat the Steelers in the playoffs. Kind of funny, but I know what I saw that day. That's the worst football game I've ever seen. But I think I read where last night Raiders-Broncos is the first game maybe ever where neither team scored more than 10 points, neither team had more than 10 first downs, and both teams committed 11 or more penalties. That is puke. That is vile. I can't believe they put that on television. I hope Al Michaels was like doing a Sudoku or doing something to busy himself rather than watch that. From the 785, I fell asleep for half the game last night. I woke up disgusted that my eyelids had to watch that. Also, from the 785, you should have heard the announcers on Westwood One last night. They were killing Bo Nix, roasting his skills, talking about all he was doing wrong, and admitted that the Raider defense was the only reason he was getting away with it. I had friends who are Bronco fans who were openly wondering if he had been concussed. But like, who would have hit him? Nobody hit him. How would he get a concussion? Nobody hit you. It's bad for Bo Nix. Bad. He's their ceiling. That's what I've been trying to say since they drafted him. That kid is going to be your ceiling. And even at 8-2, he represents their ceiling. Anyway, predictions for the rest of the season for the Chiefs, record-wise. Spencer already putting his name on it. He says they're not losing again. He thinks the Chiefs are running the rack, 8-0, 13-4, and that will give them the third seed in the AFC playoffs. That's interesting to me because that insinuates that the Colts aren't going to lose again other than the Chiefs, because if both teams end up 13-4 and the Chiefs beat the Colts, they'd have the tiebreaker. But that's a firm belief in the Colts there potentially, or some three-way tiebreaker machinations if all three of those teams, Bills, Colts, and Chiefs, end up with the same record. Brendan and I both have the Chiefs finishing 12-5. I think they're going 7-1. I think they are going to have to play the Raider game for the sake of seeding, and in Week 18 they're going to beat them. Brendan's got them going 7-1 as well. The difference is Brendan doesn't think that will be enough to catch Denver. I do. I do not think Denver is going to go. What would they have to be? They would have to be 6-2. The rest, I don't think they're going 6-2 the rest of the way. I think they're going at least 5-3, two of those losses to the Chiefs. And if they go 5-3 and both losses to the Chiefs get the divisional tiebreaker. So I've got 12-5. I think they are going to win the division, and I think they'll end up with the third seed, again, behind Indianapolis and Buffalo. We'll see what Matt Derrick thinks. He's our Chiefs insider. We're going to talk to him next here on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by the great Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider. Matt covers the Chiefs for ChiefsDigest.com. You can find him across all manner of social media, X, Blue Sky, Threads, whatever you like, at Matt Derrick. Matt, we were just talking about the worst American football games that have ever been played in NFL history. My vote, because I was at the game, was Chiefs 7, Broncos 3 at the end of the 2011 season. What do you remember from that football game? And is it, in fact, the worst game you've ever seen?
I'm trying to remember. That was the Tim Tebow game,
wasn't
it?
Yes, that was the end of the Tebow regular season experience.
Yeah, that I just remember no offense.
Mm-hmm. Dexter McCluster was the Chiefs' leading rusher in that game.
Gosh, yeah, that brings back some memories. I mean, that's the one thing that stands out about me, though, is that that's one of the few worst games in NFL history not played on a Thursday night.
That's true. Yeah, the last night's game, in fact, I think has a maybe a place at the table in talking about one of the worst games that's ever been played. But yeah, I wanted to see if you had the memory of was that Brady Quinn? No, it was Kyle Orton. It was Kyle Orton revenge game.
You're right, yeah, Kyle Orton.
The Kyle Orton revenge game in Denver, and put up 7 points and beat Tim Tebow and the Broncos. Oh my God, that game was pitiful. Anyway, let's talk about some more pleasant version of the Kansas City Chiefs. This one, even though they are coming off the loss to Buffalo on Sunday. To go back to that one real quick, did it feel again to you like the Chiefs didn't maybe show all of their cards in this matchup with the Bills? Patrick Mahomes didn't scramble. It didn't feel like there was a whole lot of diversity in the offensive game plan. Or do you think that's maybe a bit of cope that the Chiefs maybe just got outmaneuvered by the Bills once again in the regular season?
I feel like it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, there's no doubt that game is important to Buffalo. It was important again this year. And I felt that it was more important than it was to the Chiefs. Going into the bye week, I thought Kansas City just kind of looked flat overall. This was not felt like the same team that we'd seen the last 3 weeks. They were, as Andy Reid would say from time to time, they were just off a bit. I mean, they were just off an inch, just a little bit, but it was enough. Patrick Mahomes was not sharp. That was not the normal Patrick Mahomes that we've seen. So I think that was a little bit of it. And yeah, I mean, the other part of it is that at Buffalo, I mean, they played well. I mean, I have to give them credit, but again, an incredibly close game. I mean, these two teams, this is the kind of games that they play. I mean, even though I don't feel like that was a maybe not even a B effort. I mean, it might have been a C+ effort from the Chiefs. They were still right there with the chance to be in it at the end.
We're joined by Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com, our Chiefs insider here on 580 Sports Talk. We're at the bye week. Chiefs always seem to hit the gas when November and December roll along. What are they going to have to do that this season? Let's start on the defensive side of the ball. Is their base defense and their run defense was exposed a little bit by Buffalo? What do they have to get right defensively to get back to the level they need to be at for the second half of this season?
I mean, I think it all starts with the front four. They've got to find a way to get better production, better pressure up front defensively. They probably need to tighten some things up from the run game standpoint. Although I thought overall, I mean, I think Cook had to get the 27 carries to get to the 114 yards, and he had 216 on 19 carries the week before. So hey, that's not bad. And I thought as the game went on that they did a decent job with Cook. But second time around, if you see them again, that's going to be an area that you want to tighten up. But the one area that the Bills really exposed was, targeting the tight end in the middle of the field. A lot of teams are going to be going to school on that film from the Bills game and looking to see how that they can get their tight ends involved and see if those weaknesses are still there when the Chiefs get off the bye week.
What adjustment can the Chiefs realistically make against teams that are going to do that to them? Because they're not taking Nick Bolton off the field. For whatever Bolton's weaknesses may be in coverage, he's the green dot. He's staying on the field no matter how many linebackers or defensive backs are going to be around him. So what are the Chiefs going to have to do? Is it schematic? Is it personnel? Are they going to have to maybe tweak the things that they would like to do otherwise and maybe are forced into trying some new things personnel-wise or scheme-wise?
Yeah, and even though the Chiefs, I mean, even though it looks like that they've really kind of honed in on what their rotation is from a secondary standpoint, there still looks like there's some experimentation going on and just kind of figuring out what's the best rotation in the best situations. This is definitely, without a doubt, a platoon type defense from Steve Spagnuolo, because you have weeks where Jaden Hicks gets a lot of snaps, and then you have a week like last week when I think he had 4 snaps, and you get more Chris Roland Wallace. Obviously, the Chiefs are experimenting now with more Noel Williams and getting him out there. So there is a little bit of experimentation still going on with the Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo to kind of figure out their best group out there. And I think you're going to live with a little bit of mistakes in the meantime, because they had some breakdowns against Washington in the passing game as far as targeting running backs, with some miscommunication between the secondary and the linebackers. I think you had a little bit of that, obviously, against Buffalo. It was the same kind of thing. And so when you're rotating guys in and out and you're using different guys each week, there's going to be some breakdowns. And I think, once again, I mean, Buffalo did a great job of exposing this for the Chiefs, so they know what they need to work on. I mean, I jokingly called Buffalo the best scout team in the NFL for Kansas City, because every year they expose their weaknesses and give Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo until January to fix them.
Joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline is our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, here on 580 Sports Talk. How about over on the offensive side of the ball? What's the most important thing the Chiefs have to make sure they get right in this bye week heading into the second half?
I mean, I still feel like at some point they're going to have to figure out how to run the football. That's just it. I mean, they obviously had been pretty successful in short yardage situations going into that Buffalo game. And then you had that goal line situation where you got 3 chances. You probably should have taken 4 chances maybe to get that ball into the end zone and get a touchdown. You can't walk away without 7 points in those situations. And the run game has been something that has just plagued the Chiefs all season. Yeah, it looked like maybe that was the area that they were going to shore up during at the trade deadline, but didn't do it. They've got to figure out something, and I don't know if giving more touches to Brashard Smith to see what he's got. Whether do you unleash Elijah Mitchell and see what he's got? They need something, because they've struggled on the ground. They haven't gotten anything consistent. They have no big play ability in the run game. They've got to figure that out. I mean, I especially considering that so many teams are using light boxes against them and are not respecting the run whatsoever. That's going to make it harder for Mahomes in the passing game. And until these guys in the backfield, until the run game gets going, you're just going to see teams teeing off on the pass. And I think that was a little bit of what you saw against Buffalo.
Since Rashee Rice returned to the lineup, Xavier Worthy is averaging just over 4 touches per game. That doesn't feel like enough for somebody with his speed and dynamic ability in the open field. How do the Chiefs unlock Xavier Worthy in the second half?
Yeah, it's a good question. And, is it just the short-term adjustment with Rashee Rice coming back in? I think obviously one of the strengths of Xavier Worthy is going downfield, and teams have been trying to take that back away, making some adjustments to take that ball away. And it's freeing up, obviously, things for other guys. Obviously Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice have had a couple of really good games since Rice came back. And I think that, teams, and they're going to continue to make adjustments. Will our teams after the bye week for the Chiefs going to be saying, wait a minute, we need to be paying more attention to Rashee Rice. So maybe Worthy's going to get some more favorable and better matchups going forward. We'll see. But I mean, clearly that remains a goal of the Chiefs, is to throw the ball deep. And with Rice back and getting most of the work, it's going to be Xavier Worthy's job. I mean, Tyquan Thornton obviously is not getting the snaps that he once did. And there are other ways to get Worthy involved in the run game, whether, in a short area game, maybe I could put it that way. Just getting the ball to him in the backfield and getting it to him in some quick hits. They need to get some of that going too.
Couple more questions for Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt covers the Chiefs at ChiefsDigest.com. Matt, what are you hearing about Josh Simmons' return and his game readiness? Do the Chiefs expect to be able to plug him in right away back at left tackle in Week 10 against Denver?
We'll see. I mean, this week with him being back in the building, I mean, it's mostly kind of conditioning is about the only thing he can do. I mean, there's not a lot of guys around, so it's not like they're holding practices or doing drills or anything of that nature. So most of what he's able to do right now is lift weights, get back in this shape. We don't know what kind of football shape that he's in coming back. I'll be interested to see what Andy Reid tells us on Monday. If we get a lot of details there, obviously Wednesday will be the real indicator as far as, what he is as a practice component. I mean, I could see the Chiefs, trying to back off of him at first to give him some time to acclimate back up. I can also see them throwing him back out there into the fire, but I think it's obviously one of the considerations that they got to have is what's best for Josh Simmons to make sure that he's in the right position. But I honestly, I also think there's something that they need to do for team chemistry too. There's probably some players who are going to bound to have some questions about Josh Simmons coming back and just kind of taking his job and getting it right back. There are some things that this team is going to have to figure out, and chemistry-wise, and the return of Josh Simmons is one of them in the second half.
Got about a minute here, Matt. The Chiefs sat out the trade deadline, did not make a move. It was reported that they made an offer for Breece Hall, but weren't willing to match the Jets' asking price. What message do you think the Chiefs' inactivity sends? Do you think it is they are happy with their roster where it's at, or do you think that this was a function of the market not really coming back to the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think some of it is that, hey, if they really like Breece Hall, they can probably get Breece Hall in the offseason as a free agent, and they can get him that way without giving up any draft picks. And we'll see. Maybe they will do that. I mean, certainly the lack of activity would say, hey, they're okay with the group that they have. But I think it's also much more reflective on the fact that they were very selective about what they were going to do, just because they didn't want to give away a lot of draft capital and they didn't want to take on a lot of salary with their cap situation. And with Breece Hall, he was affordable, but there's no doubt. I mean, the draft capital was the key.
All right, Matt, they got 8 games left in the regular season. Their record, the Chiefs, in the final 8 games will be what?
I am crazy bullish, Dan. I mean, I want to say 8-0, but I'm going to go 7-1 because I think that the schedule's built that way. They don't have this game against Denver. It's the toughest game that they've got in the second half of the schedule.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think 7-1, and I think they sweep Denver, and I think they win the West. Matt Derrick will cover it all at ChiefsDigest.com. He is our Chiefs insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Appears with us every Friday at this time. Matt, enjoy the bye week, and we'll do this again next Friday.
Sounds great, Dan. Take care, my friend.
That is Matt Derrick. We will step aside for a timeout, come back, and wrap up this opening hour of 580 Sports Talk after this. So on second thought, I thought K-State was going to cover 7.5 at home against Texas Tech last week. And listen, they could have. There's a version of that game where they don't make critical mistakes and turnovers. It was a fourth quarter game even with those. They don't turn the ball over late in the first half and set up an easy score for Texas Tech. And maybe they go in the locker room only down 2 or 3, or maybe even with the lead. It's a different ball game. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things with Texas Tech. You don't realize how big something is until you're standing next to it. And you don't realize sometimes how good a team is until you're playing against it. And I think Kansas State saw last week that Texas Tech really good, especially on the defensive front. That is the best defensive line maybe in America. It's amazing to be saying that about a Big 12 team. It's especially amazing to be saying that about the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Money can buy you dudes, and Romello Height and David Bailey are awesome. And Kansas State really didn't have an answer for those guys. And the more K-State had to play from behind, the more they had to drop back Avery Johnson with no threat of the run, the more those guys could just tee off, and ended up picking up a pretty lopsided final score in the end. So hand up, my bad on that one. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour of the program, we got our 580 Sports Talk picks for this week. Other than the K-State pick, I went 3-1. Oh, I had a winning week last week. I can't be too upset. You can't be too upset with me. I won you money last week. Spencer also had a winning week last week. Just follow the two of us. You'll be in good shape. Brendan's got some work to do, but we're all going to be in. We're all going to give our picks for the upcoming week. We'll talk about KU's trip to Arizona on the gridiron tomorrow and the rest of the Big 12 weekend, including that massive BYU Texas Tech game. Plus, we'll crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You next hour on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of this Football Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Thanks so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. 2 more hours to go, and hey, the gang's all here. I'm Dan Lucero. Brendan Brzezinski and Spencer Dupuis are with me as well. I'm going to head out bottom of this hour. I've got high school football tonight. We have got a 580 Preps game of the week in Class 1A regional action tonight. The Rossville Bulldogs and the Jefferson County North Chargers from the Dog Pound or the Dog House. I'll have to ask when I get there. You can go either way.
I believe there is a bar that's the Dog House in Rossville.
Okay, well, maybe they might be going there after the game. we'll see how it goes. But we will have that coverage tonight with pregame starting with the 580 Preps Coaches Club at 6:05, and then pregame coverage live from Rossville ahead of the kickoff at 7 o'clock. Rossville and Jefferson County North tonight is our 580 Preps game of the week. So I'm headed out to Rossville. After a little while here, Brendan and Spencer will take you the rest of the way. Coming up this hour of the program, we're going to crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You. 2 new stories today. We will crown our first weekly champion for the month of November. We'll also talk some Big 12 football. KU's best chance to get bowl eligible. Is it this game or the Iowa State game, considering Iowa State's players are dropping like flies, that represents the best chance for KU to earn that 6th win and get back to a bowl? Because if it's this week, last I looked, they were 5.5-point underdogs.
I think that's too many points. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's too many.
It's still sitting at 5.5 up at Prairie Band Sportsbook. I was surprised to see it there.
If I wasn't spending all of my money to buy a single can of beans at the grocery store these days, I would invest in a KU plus 5.5 in this game. Unfortunately, a bag of Twizzlers costs $84, so I cannot afford to do
I tried to buy some coffee and I had to take out a second mortgage.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. We'll be able
Hey, can I get some cough medicine? Sure, we'll take your daughter as payment. Oh, okay.
Hey, don't worry. We'll be able to grow our own coffee in like Sheboygan like any day now. We'll be able to grow our own American manufacturing.
Spencer asked me today, like, why is it so hot? I was like, oh, I bet there are some organizations that could give you some very interesting answers about that.
Anyhow, we have some 580 Sports Talk picks that we're going to get to.
This is also where all my money has gone.
Yes.
To being 100 games under 500.
Been a tough year for BD. Spencer and I working on back-to-back winning weeks. Spencer working on a season-long winning record. So we got our 580 Sports
I'm trying
Talk
to go
contest.
for back-to-back season wins.
Yes, you are.
Back-to-back season wins. Wow,
And
I'm Spencer. Good for me.
Proud we are of you for that.
But that's only because I don't have a lot to deal with at home.
At least he's on.
There.
Like-
You know what? Respect.
Ever since
Yeah.
ever since I first joined this picks contest, both of you guys have had way more to deal with in your lives,
Brother,
Yes.
than I do.
Correct. Thank you for the respect.
I used to, back when we started doing this, back in the 580 Sports Talk Classic days, back when we started doing this, we really got serious about it back at the advent of sports gambling and legal sports gambling in Kansas. I used to have a spreadsheet of college football games, totals, over-unders, looking for edges. I'm looking for games that the numbers say Vegas isn't getting right. And I would pour through that spreadsheet and carefully consider my college football picks every week. And now Friday, I open up the sports book and be like, hey, that feels right.
Well, no, you put a little bit of thought into one of yours. You said earlier this week, wow, I'm going to put that on mine.
You're right. And I did. And
did you do any extra research into it?
absolutely not. Not a lick. So, yes, things are different. Spencer does have a bit of an advantage in this, but we will do week 11 of our 580 Sports Talk picks. I want to remind you can text the program, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the chat on our YouTube stream. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Like and subscribe to 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. And hop in the chat while we're live. Say hello. Interact with us. Interact with your fellow listeners as we go along. I am in opposition to you on one of your second half predictions for the Kansas City Chiefs. I do think the Chiefs are going to catch the Denver Broncos. I do think they're going to win the AFC West. And I think that because I think the Broncos are sorry. And I think they are a sorry team masquerading as an 8-2 team, and that eventually their chickens are going to come home to roost in these one-score games, and that their one-score game results are going to flip, just like I think the Chiefs' one-score results are going to flip in the second half of their season. So, state your case. Why do you think Denver is going to end up with a better record, or at least the tiebreaker over the Chiefs?
Because Denver is playing a Division III schedule the rest of the season.
Hey, be nice to Division III.
Like, DePaul is going to play tougher games. Like, okay.
I don't know.
Let me put it this way. Denver is going to play both my favorite team and Spencer's favorite team and the team we all cover. All teams that there is some level of emotional connection here to. And I think they are going to win all of those games except the Chiefs games. I think they are going to lose to the Chiefs twice and still win the division.
That would mean they win out. They win all the rest of their games.
Spencer, cover your ears. Washington absolutely friggin' sucks. The Raiders absolutely freaking suck. I actually picked, and this is documented somewhere on the internet, I actually picked Denver to beat Green Bay before the season. Now,
okay.
Jordan Love is even better than I thought he was going to be this year. Take out Carolina when he still was fine. Denver is not the offense I thought they would improve to be, and yet I picked that game at the start of the year. I'm going to stick with that. Jacksonville, there's like a 20% chance Jacksonville looks like the 85 Bears. Well, give me a better Broncos offense. Like, any given week, they could just be great, but there's about an 80% chance that they look like a bottom feeder at the same time. Then they'll lose to Kansas City again, and you're starting at right guard the rest of the way for the Chargers, so congratulations. Make sure you get on a plane and get ready for the game. Like, that is the worst offensive line in football. And what does Denver have? Arguably the best pass rush in football. Herbert's going to die.
Are we sure it's a good pass rush, or
yes.
They're just playing bums?
No, I think it's legit. I think they are legitimately good. And they have played some poor offense, no doubt. But they also beat up on, Dallas is a good offensive line. They held Dallas pretty much in check in that game. Held Philadelphia to 17 points. That's a good offense. Not as elite as they've been, but still a very good offensive line. I just think that's a tissue soft schedule the rest of the way. Again, I think the Chiefs beat them twice. I think the Chiefs are going to go 7-1. But I still think Denver is going to win. What do they have now? 7 games left? I still think they're going to go 5-2 because I think that schedule stinks.
All right. I just want to give you a chance to...
And I will say this. The Chiefs are a better team than the Broncos. They were a better team going into week 1. They are a better team today. They will be a better team entering the wild card round of the playoffs. That is a better team. But because of the way the NFL works, better teams don't always end up with the best record.
This is true. Spencer, you think the Chiefs are running the rack, going 8-0 the rest of the way. Why?
Because I think it's Andy Reid after the bye week just goes crazy. They just turn on the Jets per se. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like the Chiefs after the bye week, and I feel like some of their only losses after the bye weeks are when they're resting players.
It's not out of the realm. Like, they are going to be favorites in the rest of their games. So it would not be on an individual level surprising. In fact, it would be probably expected for the Chiefs to win. Again, you don't play a game in a vacuum, and lots of things can happen, and all of that is true. But you can look at all 8 of the Chiefs games the rest of the way and say they're going to be favored in every one of them.
Yeah, and they deserve to be. They should be. I think 8-0 I'm picking 7-1.
I'm picking 7-1 too. I think they're going to have to play the Raider game for seeding, and they're going to beat them.
I think it is more likely, though, with that prediction in mind, I think it's more likely they go 8-0 than they go 6-2.
Okay.
Like, I think they beat the Broncos twice. I think they'll beat the Texans because the Texans can't play offense.
They can't score.
I think they'll beat the Chargers. I like Cam Ward. Not in that matchup. I think the Colts game is fascinating because that's still 3 weeks away now. Are the Colts as good as they were through the first 8 weeks of the season, or are they getting hit in the face by regression after they had 6 turnovers in 1 week? Because they had 2 through their first 8 games. Then they had 6 in a game against the Steelers, who have a bad defense. Bad. So that game to me is fascinating. If they beat the Colts there, though, they probably go 8-0 in their final 8.
Yeah, I could see that. No, I think that's entirely possible. Anyhow, I want to give you guys a chance to defend your second half predictions. Let's get into some shorter term predictions. The 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest has reached week number 11. Once again, here's how this works. We pick 2 college football games against the spread, 2 NFL games against the spread, and a wild card pick that can be a total, another spread pick, a player prop, a team prop, anything like that from the world of college or professional football, our wild card pick. Again, it is Spencer in the lead. He is 3 games over 500 after going 3-2 last week. He is 25, 22-1 for the season. I went 3-2 last week for the second straight week, brick by brick, trying to get back to 500. I'm 20, 24-3 on the campaign. Brendan bringing up the rear at 18-30. He went 2-3 last week. I'm going to go first this week. I never get to because I've been stuck in second place this whole time. And we've been going back and forth between last place goes first and first place goes first. I never get to go first. I'm going first this week. I'll start with my college football picks. Navy is a 27.5-point underdog at Notre Dame. I know they lost 51-14 last year to Notre Dame. I think this is a better Navy team, and I think they have a chance to stay within 4 touchdowns. I just feel in my gut that this will not be a high possession game, and I think it's a game where Navy can put some things together, and Blake Horvath and company can move the ball a little bit, and I think they'll stay within 4 touchdowns.
Can they get 2 stops?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling.
Like that might be the number. Because Notre Dame's going to score. That I agree with you about Navy being better. Their defense is still very bad. Notre Dame, though, doesn't score like crazy against teams that aren't Arkansas. Like, can you get 2 stops where you don't allow points? Can you get a turnover? If you can, I like that pick.
Yeah, that's all they need. That doesn't seem like too big a ask. So I'll go Navy plus 27.5. My other college pick. It brings me no joy.
I hate this pick.
It brings me no joy to inform you.
This is gross.
But Bill Belichick's North Carolina Tar Heels are kind of getting better. Like, and by kind of getting better, I mean getting a lot better. And I think they are going to handily cover a 7.5-point spread at home against Stanford traveling across the country. Stanford is not good. Carolina's defense has played at a much higher level the last 2 weeks. Their offense has found an identity on the ground. I think they win by more than a touchdown. I will take Carolina laying 7.5 points. The jokes were fun while they lasted, but they're getting into a soft part of that ACC schedule, and they really are getting better. So,
I will say this: Carolina 5-3 against the spread, 3-0 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, overperforming SP Plus projections by more than a touchdown each of the last 3 games.
Wow!
And SP Plus likes them by I think 9 in this game. So
did they switch quarterbacks, or is Gio Lopez still playing?
I can't
remember if Max Johnson got put in.
I just know they're giving the ball to their running back.
Smart.
Damon something or other.
Yeah,
it looks like Demon.
Yeah,
is it Damon Harris? No, that was a different guy.
I was going to say, I don't. Damon June.
Damon June. Okay, thank you. Yep. It looks like Demon June.
When it's that hot outside.
Yes, they are on demon time with Damon June. Anyhow, those are my college football picks. Spencer, you're in the lead. What do you got for your college football picks this week?
Yes. My favorite thing to do is back the double feature. Except for this one means more.
Double feature.
This one means more on one side of things. So Marshall is hosting James Madison. James Madison, probably the best team in the Sun Belt and has playoff aspirations. They might win the game, but Marshall, I think, is going to cover. I give Marshall a good chance to win this game. Marshall are 13. They are 13.5-point underdogs, but this game just means more. It is the game that they recognize the 75 that lost their lives on November 14th, 1970. Also, shout out to Sunbelt for screwing this up because it's supposed to be the game. They're supposed to have a home game closest to November 14th. They decided to give them a away game next Saturday. So I still hate the Sunbelt for that. But Marshall's going to cover and hopefully win for the 75 tomorrow. That's a 11 a.m. game here. On ESPN2, I believe. So it's a nationally televised slot for the Herd tomorrow. Also, Ohio State taking on Purdue. The Boilermakers are trash. So Ohio State's going to cover the 29.5 points and win by 30.
That is so many points.
I thought about taking Ohio State here. They are crushing teams. Purdue, though, has lost their last 3 games by 1 score. They are improving. It's a ways to go for Barry Odom, but they are improving.
What are the odds on Purdue to not score a touchdown?
Yeah, that's just it. Like, Ohio State might win 31-0.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They look like a machine. Again, speaking of things that it brings me no joy.
Purdue, they have last played. Oh, I guess they played Michigan, but Michigan's okay this year. They played Rutgers and they lost by 3. And they lost to Northwestern by 19.
I'm not saying they're good. I just said they've been competitive. Maybe they can be competitive. Maybe they can keep it within 4 touchdowns.
It's Ohio State. I don't think so.
No, I'm kind of with you, Spence.
It kind of depends on what Ohio State is very much in. We can pick our final score until we get to Michigan.
Yeah, I mean,
Does
that
Ryan
was
Day like
what
Barry
happened
Odom?
a few weeks ago.
Like, are Ryan Day and Barry Odom friends? If so, Purdue's got a chance to cover. If not, oh God. My picks. It's Saturday. You know what that means? It's time to respect the belt. Spencer, I was going to say it, but you had an emotional pick, and I didn't want to get in the way. Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. Coastal, according to SP Plus, 12 points better. The spread's only 7.5. What is that? 7.5 free money. Coastal to cover. They're given 7.5. I'll take them laying the points. For the record, UL Monroe is off this week. Otherwise, I would have bet against them. They are 2-7 against the spread this year. My other college pick, we're going out west late at night. Nevada at Utah State. This line opened at 11.5. It has moved to Utah State by 9. SP Plus likes Utah State by 12 in this game. I also like Broncos big bad boys. Give me the Aggies to beat down on the Wolfpack. Lay a 9.
6:30 contest?
I'll take it.
It's early.
Yeah,
I suppose that is early for out there. Yeah. It's late out here. I got a kid that gets ready for bed at 6:45.
Yeah.
It's late night for her, so it's late night for me.
It's after dark.
Yes.
Yeah, it's since the time change, the 6:30 kickoff is in fact after dark.
Shoot, man, the 2:30 games are almost after dark at this point.
All right, let's run our NFL picks for the coming Week 10 action. Brendan, we'll start with you.
In Berlin, Atlanta versus Indianapolis. Atlanta cannot stop the run. 29th defensive success rate against the run, 24th EPA per play. Indy can win this game doing nothing but handing it off to Jonathan Taylor. They're laying 6. I will take the Colts in Berlin. Everybody on the internet hates that the Packers are favored by 2 on Monday Night Football. Why? They looked like crap against the Carolina Panthers. The Eagles they're fresh. They're playing better. They're getting healthy. This line stinks. So give me the team that it stinks in favor of. Green Bay. People are doubting it. I don't usually like to pick my favorite team here. I will do it this time. Give me the Packers. Okay, by the way, Green Bay, despite losing to Carolina and scoring 13 points, more yards per drive than any other team in the NFL last week. 53 yards a drive.
How about that?
Give me the Packers, -2.
All right, Spencer, your NFL picks for the week.
Yes, as I said, the old Spencer double features
the
back.
nightcap.
Detroit Lions at Washington Commanders. Commanders are 8.5-point dogs. I think they cover. No Terry McLaurin, but I think Marcus Mariota and the guys have a spirited game for Jaden Daniels after what happened. And I think they at least cover in this one with old Orange Man watching the game. And then Buffalo favored by 9 at Miami. This one was a weird Thursday night game. The first time these two teams played, Buffalo still won by 10. And Buffalo seems to be turning things up as of late. So I'm going to go with the Bills. Favored by 9 on the road.
They do, the Bills win more beatdown games than any other team in the league.
Yep.
But they have also struggled in Miami in recent years.
Yes. But, so that game was that Thursday night game. I didn't think it was, I totally forgot it was a 10-point win because it was not 10 points at one point.
Yeah, the end of that one got a little funky, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
They do play with their food against the Dolphins. I actually kind of like Buffalo here, too, though.
All right, my NFL picks: Baltimore laying 4 at Minnesota.
Yep.
I think that's a line I really like for Baltimore. I think they're going to start to hit their stride with Lamar Jackson back, and I think they'll tune up the Vikes. Tampa Bay -2.5 at home against New England. Tampa Bay is getting healthier. I still kind of think there's a bit of a paper tiger element to New England. This is the thing about New England. Everybody loves Drake May. And rightfully so. He's been terrific to start this year. Looks like the next big thing at quarterback in this league. Who are the other elite players on the New England Patriots? Who are the other guys you go up and down their roster and think I wish my team had that guy?
All right.
Christian Gonzalez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christian Gonzalez, Drake May. Can we talk more about Drake May?
Right. You see my point,
so
right?
Good. Well, they're also missing Kayshon Boutte this game.
Yeah, and that's
who has been
Yeah,
a
he's
revelation.
played great. That's a big deal for them. I think Mike Vrabel's coaching goes a long way. They certainly have the coaching advantage in this matchup, but I will take Tampa Bay at home in the early kickoff to win by at least a field goal. All right, time for our wild card picks for the week. I'm taking the over at Lumen Field in Seattle between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett has replaced Kyler Murray in Arizona, and now Arizona can run a functional offense.
They are slinging it, folks.
Yeah, they're going to throw it. They're going to try and score. Seattle, of course, red hot on offense with what Sam Darnold is doing. So I think that game gets over 45.5 with room to spare. I got the over in Arizona, Seattle. Spencer.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. This is only football. I would love to put some college basketball on here.
Oh, look at this. Spencer Vital over here.
Yeah, to show that I can be good and
Mr. Do-It-All.
picking more than just football.
Get you a man that can do both.
Because I have to choose football, I'm going to go back to the CMC, anytime tutty.
Okay.
I am going over in Tulane at Memphis. That game is tonight. That has actually moved a little bit. It was 55.5 down to 55. I will happily take that. I think both these teams can score. Dubious about their defenses. So lots of points in the American tonight.
All right. What's your lock of the week, gentlemen?
Did I say respect the belt or did I say respect the belt? Coastal laying 7 and a hook.
Spencer, what's your lock of the week?
Emotional hedge, Marshall, 13.5-point dogs at home on the 75 day. Going that for my lock of the week.
Dude, my only good picks have been these Sun Belt picks. All the others have been ass and a half.
That's very funny. I got Baltimore -4 as my lock of the week. Those are our picks. We'll recap them on Monday. Right now, we'll take a break, come back, and crown a What Is Wrong With You champion for the week on 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you time here on 580 Sports Talk. 2 new stories today competing to be our weekly champion. Right now, our weekly champion is We're Sorry You're Dead. 500 plus Mainers got a letter from Maine Health informing them that they were dead. They were not. Not a single one of them were. An error in Maine Health's computer systems led to it accidentally sending letters to 531 patients, indicating that they were deceased, which is very, very funny to me.
So if I'm dead, do I not have to pay taxes?
No, the rest of the letter was, here's how your estate can cover all that debt. Yeah.
My plan has been thwarted.
That's where they get you. All right, 2 new stories today. Spencer, why don't you go first?
All right, we're going to go back to the Florida well. A Florida man walked into a bar and got into a heated argument about how many eggs chickens can lay, and then he grabbed a gun and opened fire.
Whoa!
Cops in Port St. Lucie say 44-year-old Peter Riera fired shots Tuesday morning outside Harper's Pub, and police body cam footage obtained by TMZ shows he was taken into custody. Police say he got into an argument with 3 people outside the pub who he claimed were trying to con him. He raises chickens, and the dispute was about how many eggs chickens can lay. Cops told WPTV TV. For some reason, the argument got heated, and he allegedly fired 4 shots from a 45 caliber Glock. Cops say he was paranoid and thought the folks he was arguing with were out to get him. Cops say everyone involved were drinking. Unfortunately, no one was injured. He's being held without bond as he faces multiple criminal charges. 2 of them, people say he allegedly shot at, ended up getting arrested during the police response. They were busted for resisting arrest. No word who is caring for the chickens.
So how many eggs can chickens lay?
I don't know.
All I know is this is the stupidest thing to get in a bar fight over since Barney Gumble knocked out Wade Boggs debating who was the best English prime minister of all time. Very, very stupid. All right, my story today is called Who Invited the Get Shot Gang, where multiple guns were fired when a house party turned violent at 4 a.m. in Spindale, North Carolina. Investigators have determined it was the doings of a crew known as the Get Shot Gang. The gunfire erupted just before 4 a.m. Saturday at a duplex and continued after police arrived. No injuries were reported despite the home being riddled with bullet holes. Information collected indicates a house party turned violent when a physical altercation began. Someone retrieved a firearm and fired several times while inside the house. Within minutes, the aggressors returned to the residence, then fired multiple times into the residence from the roadway with what was described as an ARP or AR-style pistol. This resulted in the residence being struck at least 14 times. 22 shell casings were recovered. An investigation identified the shooters as suspected members of a gang that is calling itself GSG or Get Shot Gang. A first arrest was made November 3rd. Lennox Pearson, who was out on jail on probation, was found at his home in Ellenboro with 2 weapons that were believed to have been used at the party. He's been charged with possession of a firearm by a felon, discharging a firearm into an occupied dwelling, 6 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, and possession of a weapon of mass destruction. So if it were me, I would simply, if throwing a house party, cross the Get Shot Gang off of the invite list.
Yeah.
If I did not want anything or anyone to get shot, I would think twice about inviting the Get Shot Gang.
I think that's on everybody's mind.
Not who I would invite. Not who I would associate with personally.
They would be very low on my list. The Get Diarrhea Gang would also be extremely low on my list.
Mm-hmm. Get Shingles Gang, all pass.
The Get Food Poisoning Gang, absolutely not invited to my party. Yeah. I want that. I want the party sub and the pizza to stay untainted.
Yeah.
So, all right, who wins today? 2 good stories.
They are 2 good stories.
It's been a good week.
I know they were all drinking. I'm going to go Spencer's story today.
Yeah, like
that really is as stupid as it gets.
Yeah, that's a very dumb thing to fight over. Does that beat Maine Health sending 531 letters to patients informing them that they were dead?
No, because if there was ever a time to proofread or to wait to hit send, it would be that one. I'm gonna stick with our current one.
How did those people get on that list? Like, hey, yeah, we got to send and to send them 531 of them like at a time. You think that it was a mass email
on a listserv?
Like, whose job is that to show? All right, hey, clock in 8 o'clock. All right, Here's a list of every one of our patients who died overnight. You have to email their loved ones. And the guy pushed a wrong keystroke somewhere, and 531 very alive people got a very alarming email.
If I had to guess, whoever's job it was, they're now looking for someone new.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for What Is Wrong With You this week. We're Sorry You're Dead is our first weekly champion of November. It's going to do it for me on the show today. I'm heading out to Rossville for playoff football tonight. 580 Preps Game of the Week. It's going to be Rossville taking on Jefferson County North. Hope you'll join me for that. Pregame at 6:05, kickoff at 7. Brendan and Spencer have you rest of the way here on 580 Sports Talk.
All right, quick round of Change My Mind here on 580 Sports Talk with Brendan and Spencer. All right, Spencer, change my mind. KU this weekend taking on Arizona. This is the best chance left that KU has to make it to bowl eligibility. They've got Iowa State the week after. Iowa State super banged up. Might just not play with cornerbacks the rest of the season. And then Utah at home on Black Friday in the regular season finale. Change my mind. This is the best chance left KU has to get that 6th win.
I can't change your mind. I think it is the best chance they've got, and it's going to be an interesting one tomorrow. It'll be on ESPN2 for those of you that still get the ESPN stations. And I think coming off their homecoming victory last week, I think it propels them this week, and they get in.
I am hopeful for the very least. I mean, landslide Leipold has owned Matt Campbell. 22, 23, 24. I mean, KU has been the better team on the field than Iowa State pretty much every one of those years. Even in 2022 with that horrific game where Iowa State just kept missing field goals. Matt Campbell sends this guy out again at the end of the game. I mean, just horrible coaching for Matt Campbell in that game. But Leipold has owned Matt Campbell the way Matt Campbell has owned Chris Kleiman, the way Chris Kleiman has owned Lance Leipold over the last 4 years. That one is winnable, but it's going to be a raucous environment. Spencer's going to talk about this a little bit later on this hour. I'm going to talk about it a little bit in the 5 o'clock hour as well. It's just a tough environment to play in. Campbell's still a good coach. They've still got talent on that team. They've got a quarterback who is always going to be difficult to play against because he's got that just a winner kind of mentality. So I think this is probably your best chance. I do worry that KU is going to get stomped by Utah in the final game of the regular season. I'm a little bit worried that one is going to get really ugly really quickly. So I will say this is the best chance left. Not impossible to beat Iowa State by any means, but I think getting Arizona is the last best chance KU has. I don't know why this spread is 5.5. That seems inflated to me. So you're essentially telling me that Arizona is 3 points better than KU on top of having the home field advantage on the spread. I just don't really buy that right now. Maybe I'm being too much of a homer. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. So I'll take KU outright in this game. I think they win, even without it being like even beyond just, well, it's their best chance. I do think KU wins this weekend and gets that 6th win. Do you have a change my mind for us today?
Yes, I do. I don't know if Dan hit on it in the first hour. Obviously was not on the show, but breaking news per is this Pete
Nakos, yeah.
Nakos of On3 Sports that Kansas State running back Dylan Edwards, he is done for the 2025 season and is expected to get a medical red shirt. I guess it's stemming from, according to in the reports, the medical red shirt's going to come from that week 0 game that it caused him all season long.
Yep.
I guess.
Yep.
So, change my mind. Dylan Edwards is done at Kansas State, and he's going to hit the portal.
No, I think there's about a 10,000% chance he's going to the portal. It's a crappy situation. It's a weird situation. I don't know why this has gone so far south. And I'm not trying to say he hasn't been hurt. He definitely has been hurt. I just don't know why this thing ended up going so far south. He's playing with a good friend of his in Avery Johnson. He's playing for the team where his dad played, where he could have been a local legend. And it's just all blown up. And I really do not understand why. Maybe we're not going to ever know why. Maybe this is one of those things we have to wait until he commits somewhere else or does go into the portal until we get all the information. I don't know if either of these sides would even want to come back together. Like, this to me is different than Jace Brown flirting with the portal this past offseason, right? Like, are you sure? Like, is the grass actually greener? You're going to have a huge role. And it's worked out for Jace because he has been great this year. He's had a really good year and has really taken a step forward as a true number 1 receiver for this K-State team. Things are just so weird with Edwards right now, man. I don't really know that either of these sides would want to come back and run this back with how weird and uncomfortable it's been. And the fans have obviously been complaining about it as well. So I'm going to say, no, I will not change your mind. I'm in full agreement, and I don't know anything. I'm just making an assumption here, but I do think he's going to end up hitting the portal and using another, because he already had one more year of eligibility. Yeah. So he's got an extra year now. I think he's going to go somewhere else, try to have a great year, and then head to the draft. I just can't see him back in Manhattan.
So I don't know if the philosophy changed, but at one point, Dan's thinking was that he was going to just go to the draft.
I
didn't ask him today if he thinks now, barring this news.
Sure. I mean, I can see it. I mean, the things that he brings to the table or, would bring to the table eventually are the same things he'd bring to the table now.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't know that he would do that because I don't know if you're an NFL team right now, even for a 6th or a 7th round pick, is the juice worth the squeeze without a little more proof that he can really be that guy?
Exactly, yeah.
This year was obviously a bust. His first year at Colorado, he had those great flashes, but they could not run the ball worth a damn. He didn't end up with elite stats by any means. He looked good. The eye test was there, but you needed to see a little bit more production. He had the good year with K-State where he wasn't used enough last season. I just don't know if teams would buy into that. And maybe he doesn't care. Maybe at this point, it's, dude, I'm done with the college football thing. I'm just ready to move on. I would not I don't fault him at all if that's what he ends up wanting to do. I just don't know how intriguing that is for a team to use a draft pick on. Maybe somebody who's got, 3 7th-round picks or something is willing to take a flyer on the talent. Would not be entirely shocked if that was the case. I think he's going to try to go somewhere. I think he is going to try to go somewhere, Spencer, where he is undoubtedly the guy. Because even coming to K-State, where it looked like he could have been the guy at running back, DJ was already there, and DJ Giddens had a really good senior season. Avery, being a quarterback, having, the look and the flash and the talents and all that, is always going to be the guy in that regard. I would not be surprised if he went either to another Power 4 or even to a good G6 team where he knew, I am going to be the focal point of this offense. I'm going to return kicks. I'm going to return punts. I'm going to catch passes. I'm going to run the ball, and it's all going to be me. And I'm not trying to illustrate that I believe he is a me only guy. If you believe that's up for you to determine. But I do believe that he's going to go somewhere where he can just be the star.
Yeah.
And not a star, the star. That would be my assumption.
That's what I was thinking.
Real quick, got about 60 seconds here. Change my mind. The game of the weekend in the NFL is Rams 49ers.
No, I think that I would tend to agree with you. I think that's going to be a big one, obviously, for the best division in the NFC.
Yep.
Certainly the best division, if not one of the best in the entire league.
The other competition here would be New England, Tampa Bay.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
That's an interconference matchup.
True.
But I think what you get, the stakes are a little higher in this one because it's NFC West versus NFC West in a very tightly contested conference.
I feel like
division.
I feel like for New England and Tampa Bay, it's not a loser leaves town. Like the loser's not going to make the playoffs, but it's kind of like, are you really a contender or are you like a decent playoff team, but you can't win a Super Bowl? Like if New England wins, okay, like this is for real. If Tampa Bay wins, okay, they're back, they're getting healthier, they're in that class.
I mean, they've already ruled out a bunch of their guys too,
That's
so
true.
that sucks.
No, that's a very good point. We've got to get to another break. Spencer's going to take you here for a little bit. Going to talk a little KU football and more coming up to wrap up this 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk.
The youngest in command movement to take you here for the next 3 segments. Well, this segment, get you national, local news, a check of the weather, get you some headlines, and a look at kind of what's going on this weekend in sports. We'll take a look at the NFL TV schedule here in the market and look at KU, specifically KU, and look at some K-State sports as well. Before we'll turn things back over to Brendan, he'll take you the rest of the way as I get out to Rossville ahead of tonight's 580 Preps playoff game of the week. 6 o'clock will be Coaches Club. Dan will have that for you as we get set for tonight's playoff games across the area and in for the area teams. But let's talk a little KU tonight, or KU in this segment, as kind of discussed there in that segment with Brendan before he had to run off for a little bit. Again, he'll be back to take you the rest of the way around 5:30. But Jayhawks football heading to the desert as they try to get bowl eligible to be for the first time in 59 years. They're going to face the Arizona Wildcats as they go to Tucson on Saturday for that 2:30 Central matchup on ESPN2. Fun fact, if you want to catch my alma mater, the Marshall Thunder Herd, for their 75 game, it'll be on ESPN2 at 11 a.m. So you'll be watching the end of that before you get the kickoff of that contest for KU. Jayhawks enter Saturday's Big 12 showdown sitting at 5-4 and 3-3 in the Big 12. That 5-4 is huge because you get to a 6th win, you become bowl eligible. Obviously, it'd be huge for the program. I think you build that momentum with Jalen Daniels after last week, after the 38-21 homecoming victory. Use that to get a win in this game, become bowl eligible, and heck, maybe that momentum can get you to 7 wins. I think 8's going to be hard at this point. That would be winning out. I think beating Utah on Black Friday at 11 a.m. on the big stage on the big ESPN or on ABC is going to be a tough one. And then going up to Ames will be tough, but I think you could use that momentum if you beat Arizona this weekend to go win 3 straight at Iowa State and go in and make your bowl looking, your lookingness, your where you're going to be for a bowl to be even better if you come in at you finish the season at 7-5 as opposed to 6-6. So I think that'd be huge for them. And then you double up your conference record. You'd finish the conference 5-4, which would be even bigger for you, taking that momentum into next year. Obviously, without Jalen Daniels at the helm as a quarterback, but you've got some guys there behind him. I think this game in particular is going to be interesting for KU in this one. And if Jalen Daniels is able to dominate and the defense can hold down, can hold down Noah Fafita, I think it's going to be a good game for KU. Looking at some other games on the docket in the Big 12 this weekend. BYU Tech, obviously that's legit the national game of the year. College Game Day going to be there. For those of you with YouTube TV, Pat McAfee's X account will broadcast the game day once again like they did last week on their account. You got Colorado, West Virginia. That's got toilet bowl potential. And also Colorado football. I don't know if you've been seen on social media. Colorado football's tractor trailer to get obviously their equipment and all their stuff for the sideline and their pads and everything there. Got stuck on the high streets of Morgantown, West Virginia, trying to get to the stadium. So if that might be the way things start, to be a big win for West Virginia if Colorado can't get going. I mean, that's a toilet bowl potential matchup there. Iowa State going to try to right their ship as they take on TCU. That's coming up as well. And then tonight we've got a Big 12 matchup for you as as Houston is at UCF. That's again not a great game for you, but I think that's a game that is certainly one to watch on your Friday night FS1 game. Currently, Houston favored by 1.5 in this one as they're 7-2, 4-2 in the Big 12 as they look to get to 8 wins. And that's kind of the Big 12 football weekend for you. We'll take a look at some headlines. That's after the local and national news and a check of the weather. We'll get you some headlines, some NFL injuries, news, and notes, and a firing in the AFC West for a coordinator. And then we'll take a look at KU, K-State, and what's coming up next. It's coming up next hour here on 580 Sports Talk here on 580 WIBW. Final hour of 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis with you here for a little bit. Brendan Dorzinski will rejoin us at the bottom of the hour. He'll have you the rest of the way as I make it out to Rossville for this 580 Preps Game of the Week matchup for the playoffs as Rossville hosts Jeff County North. That coming up for kickoff just after 7 p.m. But Brennan will take you from just after 5:30 to 6, and then Dan will have you with the Coaches Club before we get into pregame coverage right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. So Dan on his way to Rossville as we speak. Just want to remind everybody, live free for a year from 580 WIBW. Have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2026. Just enter to win at 580WIBW.com and make sure to enter each day to increase your chance to live mortgage or rent free in 2026 from 580 WIBW and us here at Connoisseur Media Topeka. It is the final hour here of 580 Sports Talk as I'm going to be jumping back in here, and thanks to the YouTube commenters for reminding me the music is still going on as and I need to take off the graphic here as down to just me for now. Brendan, as I said, will be back here at the bottom of the 5 o'clock hour as things are moving, things are grooving here with high school football playoffs in full swing. And let's get into some 580 Sports Talk headlines for you. As I mentioned in the earlier segment of Change My Mind, breaking news out of Manhattan earlier today. Kansas State running back Dylan Edwards is done for the season, according to On3 Sports. Pete Nakos reported he will redshirt as a result. Edwards has played in 4 games this season, which is the threshold for redshirt. On3 previously reported that the option was still on the table after he missed the victory over KU for the Sunflower Showdown in Week 9 due to an ankle injury. Edwards took 34 carries for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns to start the 2025 season. He was in his second year at K-State after transferring in from Colorado, where he spent his freshman campaign in 2023. Upon his arrival in Manhattan last year, he took 74 carries for 546 yards and 5 touchdowns. He also played a role in the passing game, hauling in 19 catches for 133 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. That came after he led Colorado with 321 rushing yards and a touchdown in 2023, also showing his skills as a pass catcher, 36 catches for 99 yards and 4 touchdowns. And this year's season opener in Dublin, Ireland, Edwards was injuring his ankle early in the matchup against Iowa State. He did not return, and K-State coach Chris Kleiman told reporters X-rays came back negative, and Edwards then returned against Arizona and later turned in his biggest game of the year against UCF, where he had 166 rushing yards and a touchdown in K-State's 34-20 victory over the Knights. Ahead of K-State's loss to Texas Tech, Kleiman confirmed Edwards was still dealing with a lower body injury. He said more imaging would be necessary and the staff wasn't going to play him if he's not back to full strength, saying, and I quote, "There's something going on with the lower extremity that we continue to do imaging on," he said on October 27th. The imaging we've received says it hasn't healed. If it's not healed, he's not going to play. We're not going to put him out there. And with last week's loss to Texas Tech, K-State is now 4-5 on the year, heading into Week 11's bye this week. The Wildcats will start their final 3-game stretch next week when they head to Oklahoma State and do so without Dylan Edwards, as that is the first headline this evening. Big blow for K-State. And we talked about this earlier, and there's been speculation on Twitter, on X. I just saw during the break before the hour, some interesting reporting or some interesting posts from reporters that cover K-State on a daily basis, and I think he's done at K-State. It's kind of sad when you put it all together because he was apparently Avery Johnson's best friend, right? Like, it's something turned in that locker room to start the season, and I don't know if it was distractions or what it is, but Dylan Edwards done for the season at K-State, trying to get a medical red shirt going back to the ankle injury at that would happen at against Iowa State in Dublin, and just tough break for a player that, you know, only wants to do his best. And I think it's going to be a tough break for K-State because I don't think he's coming back, right? Like, I don't think you come back from this. And a lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of X accounts reporting that it was happening, and it happened. Just one post from, I guess it's K-State Online and the On 3 Sports now of K-State, coming from Derrick Young. And a lot of cryptic posts about he's gone, he's not coming back. So best to say the people really plugged in are saying that he is in fact gone. He will hit the portal at some point. But again, transfer portal not open. You can't just openly jump in it. So we might not see news until, what is that January period that they just approved. So yeah, not going to see news on the portal front until then. Getting into some other headlines here as we look kind of what is trending across happening right now. Mark Sanchez, he will not return as a Fox Sports analyst. As we all knew, the writing was on the wall the other day when Drew Brees was hired. But Fox Sports announced officially today that Brees would replace Sanchez's on the number 4 Fox team, with play-by-play broadcaster Adam Amin and sideline reporter Christina Pink, starting in Week 11 on November 16th. So that will be next Sunday slate of games. Obviously, just things with Mark Sanchez started out interesting, or started out like a sad thing that happened to him, and then unfortunately it was him being the aggressor in the situation, allegedly. So obviously the writing was on the wall back then, and now becoming official with Fox Sports' announcement earlier on today. Next headline, and this one, an AFC West NFL headline, as the Las Vegas Raiders have fired special teams coordinator Tom McMahon. Raiders coach Pete Carroll announced the move Friday afternoon. Assistant special teams coach Darius Swinton II has been named the interim special teams coordinator. The team's decision to move on comes after the special teams unit struggled in their 10-7 loss on Thursday Night Football to the Broncos last night. A.J. Cole's punt attempt from deep in the Raiders' territory was blocked by Broncos safety J.L. Skinner. Denver recovered the ball and eventually converted a go-ahead field goal. Again, that ended up being the difference in the ball game. Vegas had an opportunity to tie the game late in the fourth, but kicker Daniel Carlson, again, special teams, he missed a 48-yard field goal attempt. Carlson has gone 12 of 16, and that's 65% on field goal attempts, his lowest percentage since 2019. Raiders season now at 2-7 has been plagued by special teams mishaps. In Week 9, the missed extra point in the second quarter, which proved costly as they lost in overtime to the Jaguars 30-29. And the Raiders 40-6 lost to the Colts in Week 5. They had a punt blocked, resulting in AJ Cole suffering a right ankle injury. Top of that, Carlson's go-ahead field goal attempt was blocked in Week 4's loss to the Bears. And against the Washington Commanders in Week 3, the Raiders gave up a 90-yard punt return touchdown to Jalen Lane. Through 9 games, the Raiders were 28th in field goal percentage and yards per punt attempt at 44.3 yards. McMahon was in his 4th season in Vegas. Under his coaching, the Raiders were 5th in yards per kickoff return, 29.6, while Cole recorded 17 punts of 60-plus in 2024, the second most in the league and the most in a single season in Raiders history. Carlson was 84.2% last season, 34 of 40 in field goals. But that success did not translate into 2025 before McMahon joined the Raiders. He's an old friend, kind of. He was with the Broncos from 2018 to 2021. Before that, with the Colts 2013 to 17. And before that, he spent the 2012 season at One Arrowhead Drive with the Chiefs and the Rams from 2009 to 2011. So AFC West Raiders find a scapegoat after their 2-7 start. that 2-7 start. Scapegoat is the special teams coordinator. NFL injury news and notes here from across the league. 49ers quarterback Mac Jones will start on Sunday against the Rams per coach Kyle Shanahan, but Brock Purdy dealing with that turf toe is questionable and could be the third quarterback available, the emergency third. That is kind of interesting to me. I get like whatever's going on, right? Like Mac Jones has been very successful as the 49ers interim starter, but Brock Purdy's the guy you paid, right? So we could be getting into an interesting thing. Or guess what? Ride it out, wait till next year. Somebody might need a quarterback before the season, like a player getting hurt in first couple weeks. So they might try to re-sign Mac Jones and trade. I'm not sure if he's under contract for 2 years or what, but that could be interesting going forward. And obviously they need him. That's why they didn't trade him at the trade deadline. Nobody really needed a quarterback then. And it appears he is under a 2-year contract with 49ers that he signed in March, worth up to $8.41 million with $4.75 million guaranteed. So yeah, I think maybe they go in with the philosophy of, hey, we could maybe trade him in the offseason for a team that really needs a quarterback. I don't know, like maybe a quarterback that hasn't worked out in a place like maybe the Jets, maybe the Saints. Those are just a couple places where quarterbacks haven't worked out, where you could potentially work an offseason trade for Mac Jones, who was again under contract for another year. Bears running back DeAndre Swift is dealing with a personal injury. He did not practice today. He's now questionable for Sunday's game versus the Giants. He missed last week's game with a groin injury. Yeah, it's tough when he's missed that game last week, and then he's might not be playing this week with a personal. As the Bears, they are going to be facing the Giants team on Sunday. Giants team, obviously, they're home for this one, but they should get an easy win over the Giants. But the Giants are a weird team. They're 2-7, right? Against this 5-3 Bears team. I think that might be an interesting one. If DeAndre Swift isn't out, could make things pretty interesting in that contest. If he is indeed out again, he is questionable. Good news on the injury front good and bad news for my beloved Commanders. We saw Luke McCaffrey and Marshawn Lattimore go on IR earlier this week. It was a collarbone injury, breaking the collarbone for McCaffrey, and it was an ACL tear for Lattimore. But we did not see quarterback Jayden Daniels go on the injured reserve, and he's likely not going to be placed on the injured reserve because MRI and medical opinions revealed positive news in the last 24 hours that he dislocated his left elbow, is not as serious as originally anticipated. There's no ligament damage, and he won't need surgery. They're going to, Dan Quinn said earlier today, reassess after the bye week. Their bye week comes in a couple of weeks, so he will not immediately be placed on injured reserve. They got this week, they got the Lions at home. As I mentioned, I picked them in my picks contest. They are 8.5-point dogs at home on Sunday afternoon. It was America's Game of the Week. It is now no longer America's Game of the Week. Makes sense after the Commanders are where they are. And then they're going to go to Spain, Madrid. They're going to take on the Dolphins a week from Sunday at 8:30. And then they have their bye week. So things could change, but also the Commanders, I think the only way things change, and if he should come back and play next season or the rest of the season, is if maybe the Commanders have won 2 straight, beating the Lions, which are obviously a very good team, and the Dolphins, a not so great team. You need to come out 2-0, and maybe, from my personal opinion, you think about the stretch run with Jayden Daniels, because that would take you to 5-6. And if that takes you to 5-6 at the bye, it's going to be tough uphill swinging. Obviously, with the way that the Eagles are playing at 6-2, Cowboys are, and obviously that NFC North sitting with all four teams well in contention for the divisional title and wild card spots. It's the Packers leading the NFC North at 5-2-1. Lions currently 5-3. If the Commanders beat them, they'd be 5-4. Bears, again, they have a winnable game against the Giants. If they win, they'll go 6-3. So both teams, if they win, the Lions and the Bears could go 6-3. And then the Vikings sitting at 4-4. So that could be an interesting division as it comes to the wild card teams for this year. And then you look at the NFC South, the Buccaneers 6-2. Surprising in the South, you've got the Panthers at 5-4. But then that stacked NFC West we mentioned, Seahawks 6-2, Rams 6-2, 49ers 6-3, Cardinals will have a legit quarterback that could be better than their regular starter in Kyler Murray. I don't know. Maybe they could play spoiler and help a team like the Commanders if the Commanders can keep winning. But obviously, it's going to uphill battle for the Commanders, and it'll continue to be that because the negative news to this is that Terry McLaurin ruled out again with that soft tissue injury. He will miss yet another ball game. In other injury news, Colts linebacker, defensive tackle DeForest Buckner, he's been placed on injured reserve, sidelining him for a minimum of 4 games. Sauce Gardner did clear concussion protocol and will play in their overseas game this weekend. So it's pretty tough here in that when you look at the Colts, because they're going to be coming to Arrowhead in a couple weeks, and it should be interesting. A few weeks should be interesting. Looking at some other injury news, mentioned this earlier for the Patriots, Keyshawn Boutte, he is out along with linebacker. Keyshawn Boutte's dealing with a hamstring injury for the Patriots. Christian Ellis dealing with a hip injury. The linebacker, he's out as well, along with running back Ramondre Stevenson out with a toe injury for the Bucks. Chris Godwin's still out with that fibula, coming back from that. Bucky Irvin, the running back, he is out with a foot and shoulder injury. Hassan Reddick, the outside linebacker, he's out with an ankle and knee injury. Also, Marquise Watts, outside linebacker, out with a hand injury, questionable for the contest. Is offensive tackle Luke Geidick, who's coming off the injured reserve. Could come off, I guess. And then guard Luke Hagrid. Looks like it'll be a full go for Levante David, the linebacker, along with Jacob Parrish, the corner from K-State. Trying to see if there's any other injury news. Looks like Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. will miss the game Sunday versus the Texans due to a high ankle sprain. And a little other NFL injury note, the Rams kicker Sunday versus the 49ers will be Harrison Mavis. The Joshua Carty has been the Rams kicker, but has missed more field goal and extra point attempts this season than any kicker in the league. So they're going with a new kicker. Speaking of kickers, Graham Gano out for the Giants. It appears he didn't practice today. It looks like Young Ho Koo will kick against the Bears, which shall be interesting. We will step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll get you a look at what's ahead this weekend for KU, K-State, and what will be here on our family of stations. You're listening to 580 Sports Talk here on 580 WIBW. Welcome back, 580 Sports Talk, youngest in command movement. Spencer Dupuy with you. Then we'll turn things back over to Brendan Dorzinski here in just a few minutes. Want to remind everybody, no one should face winter without heat. 580W, IBW, and DeBackers Heating and Air want to help nominate someone in need to win a new furnace at 580WIBW.com. You can even upload a photo. Keep someone warm this winter. Nominate them today. Thanks to DeBackers Heating and Air of Topeka. Busy weekend for, although the Chiefs are on a bye, in case K-State football's on a bye, it's a busy weekend across the landscape of sports here. You got KU men's hoops, the number 19 team, facing the number 25th team tonight in UNC in Chapel Hill. That'll be a 6 p.m. contest here in just about 30 minutes on the big ESPN. Tomorrow, as we talked about earlier, KU football on the road trying to get bowl eligible to Arizona. That's 2:30 p.m. ESPN2. Women's soccer for Kansas State. They are back in the Big 12 Tournament Championship for the second consecutive season. They will go tomorrow night. I believe it is a 6 p.m. It is 6 p.m. is when it will air, and it'll be on ESPN Plus against BYU. Let me double check on that. Yes, it will be, or it'll be 7 p.m. against BYU on ESPN Plus. And then on Sunday, K-State women's basketball, they host Northwestern State. That game set for 2 p.m. It'll be on the Plus as well. Northwestern actually just upset Wichita State women the other day, so that should be an interesting game for K-State. Obviously no football this weekend. On the basketball side, Bellarmine is coming to Bramlage Coliseum tomorrow night. That is a 7 p.m. contest. It'll be on ESPN Plus and right here on 580 WIBW following that, or that'll be first before that, will be K-State women on the road at SMU. We'll have both games for you right here on 580 WIBW. And then on Sunday, we'll have a quadruple action of football for you, brought to you by Compass Media and Westwood One. No Chiefs football this weekend. So, yeah, it'll be a big weekend of just quadruple header of all the games you can listen to. Also, we got some college games on tomorrow. Shall be fun. I am going to get ready to get out of here. Brendan Dorzinski is going to jump back on the console for the final just under 30 minutes or so of this one as I make my trek out to Rossville ahead of tonight's 580 Preps game of the week. That's coming up here at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage will be a little bit after 6:30 p.m. For Dan Lucero, who you'll hear from at 6 o'clock in the Coaches Club, Brendan Dorzinski, and I'm Spencer Dupuy. We'll be back here in just a little bit with Brendan Dorzinski on for the rest of the show.